YouTube isn't hard, it's misunderstood. You're not failing on YouTube because you're lazy, you're failing because you're doing too much. Too much on things that don't matter. 6 hours tweaking music transitions, 4 hours comparing fonts, but maybe 10 minutes on the psychology behind your thumbnail. And then you wonder why your video flopped. Here is the harsh truth. YouTube doesn't reward effort, it rewards clarity, consistency, and prioritization. You're not losing because you're lazy. You're losing because you're focused on the wrong 80%. The 80% that isn't moving the needle. So what should you focus on? To answer the question, I'm gonna compare two creators. One that's struggling to get consistent views, let's call him Bob, and the other, Jake, averaging 4 million views per month. Bob spent 60% of his time editing videos, perfecting transitions, obsessing over sound design, trying to earn every view through polish. He spends another 20% overthinking ideas, often second-guessing what idea to move forward with or what format will finally pop. Only 20% of his time is spent on packaging. John, however, spends over 50% of his time focused on what matters most. He invests that time into brainstorming strong ideas and refining his thumbnails, titles, and hooks. He allocates 25% to A/B testing packaging variations, new thumbnail concepts, new titles, etc. He never abandons a video he believes in. 15% of his time is spent maintaining a consistent upload rhythm that focuses on being predictable rather than perfect. And less than 10% is spent on micro details like editing, polish, or font selection. John's videos outperform and get millions of views because he's focused on the 3 pillars that actually drive growth: ideas or niche, packaging, and the upload consistency. That's it. And yeah, I can already hear some of you telling me it isn't that simple, making it is so complex and top creators know stuff we don't. But let's remember this. It isn't about grinding harder. Most creators spend their time on tasks that feel productive but don't actually move the needle. The ones who win focus on the few actions that drive real growth and let go of everything else. It might sound simple, but in reality, letting go is very, very hard. Before John's videos started gaining any traction, his entire process looked very different. He was stuck in hyper-perfectionism. He would spend 3 full days obsessing over a single thumbnail, tweaking every little detail. And every script went through 7 or 8 rounds of revisions. He reworded sentences endlessly, chased the perfect transition, and fine-tuned things no viewer would ever notice. But none of it worked. The videos barely got any views, no matter how much effort he put in. And now contrast that with his current workflow. John's process is fast, structured, and laser-focused because he puts his energy into the 3 pillars that actually drive growth. And now let's break down those 3 things that truly move the needle. Once you really understand these, you'll realize just how wrong you were about YouTube. Not only you will get results without burning out, but you will also know how to repeat the process again and again. First, every idea needs to be backed by demand. If no one wants it, no one watches. No matter how well it's packaged, scripted, or edited. So you need to research niches that consistently generate over 3 million monthly views. Validate demand by tracking what's trending and study your competitors closely. Break down what they are doing right so you can learn from it and adapt it to your own style, just like any smart creator would. Next is packaging, and this is where most beginner creators go wrong. Your packaging needs to do 3 things. It has to capture attention to truly stand out on the homepage. It needs to create intrigue that makes people feel like they have to click. And it has to convert that curiosity into a click by aligning the promise of your title and thumbnail with a clear payoff. And let me make that clear. Packaging is not optional. It is the gateway to your content and the first impression that decides everything. Most beginners treat packaging like an afterthought because they assume they need to spend hours designing thumbnails themselves or spend hundreds hiring someone to do it. The truth is, today you don't need to do either to actually have good packaging and draw in millions of views. Creating high-performing thumbnails has never been faster or more affordable. Right now, many of the top creators are already using Pikzels to streamline their process. They skip the guesswork, avoid the stress, and focus on what actually gets results. So instead of spending hours designing thumbnails yourself or paying hundreds to an editor who takes days to deliver, you can now generate high-performing thumbnails in seconds. And I want to show you real quick how this works. So I've prepared this prompt, and let's start by generating a first thumbnail. Okay, here's the result. Pretty good one, actually. And this I do not only know by guessing, but also from the Pikzels score in the top left corner, which says 83. Clicking it brings up this little window showing us the 5 pillars of a great thumbnail: virality, clarity, idea, curiosity, and emotion, and it tells us the good and the bad about our actual thumbnail. But the very best part about all of this is what we call the one-click fix. Let me show you what it does by hitting the button. Alright, and here's our improved version. Let's compare it real quick to what we had before. This is the new one. Here's the old version. So we see our composition has changed. Also the font is changed a little bit. And yeah, it's an improved thumbnail version. And again, we can click the score button to see what actually the details are about of this thumbnail. So again, we do not have to guess what was happening or what was changed, but we can really learn from the system. We really can improve for the future working on our thumbnails because we learn what works better and better. Oh yeah, and this does not only work for the prompt feature, but also for recreate, for edit, and also for our brand new analyze feature. So even if you do not create your thumbnails inside Pikzels, you can still upload thumbnails to just see what's good and bad about them using our analyze tool and then also the one-click fix feature. And now let's talk about the third pillar, the one that ties everything together. Consistency is what turns momentum into real growth, and without it, nothing sticks. When you upload consistently, you collect more data. More data means better decisions, and better decisions lead to real growth. Think of it like going to the gym. The more workouts you complete, the more you'll learn about what actually builds strength and what just wears you out. Each video is a rep, and the more reps you put in, the faster you improve because you're no longer guessing. You are learning, adjusting, and getting stronger with every upload. Now, let's build a framework so you can actually start applying this theory. Before they upload, the best creators ask themselves two simple questions to stay focused on what actually moves the needle. Does this task fall under ideas, packaging, or consistency? Rate its impact from 1 to 10. If it's under 5, then delete or delegate. Success isn't complicated, it's a lot of hard work on the right things. Unfortunately, people teaching YouTube want to make it look as complicated as possible, so you feel lost and see their course or community as the miracle solution. Don't get tricked. There is no secret, there's no miracles, and if you stick at it long enough, you will succeed, even if it is by luck. For example, one of Dorian's videos blew up months after it was uploaded. Why? Timing. The day Mbappé scored 3 goals in the World Cup final, that video became hyper-viral. It wasn't perfectly edited or highly polished, but it hit at the right moment. And most importantly, it blew up the entire channel. And that's the power of our 3 fundamentals. Most beginners get it wrong because they think it's all luck. They assume packaging is hard or that they need to spend hours designing thumbnails from scratch. The truth is, you can create and test high-performing thumbnails in seconds. Trust me, you'll save hours, gain clarity, and start focusing on what matters to 100x your views.